Hey, what do we have here? Wizards and Warriors, I remember that. This game is awesome. Let's check it out. NES games were a huge part of my life. I used to watch my dad play them while I was still crawling around on the carpet. As I got older, I got hooked on these amazing adventures. They seemed limitless, and I loved being able to escape into a new world to become the hero. But NES games are ruthless. I never ended up becoming the hero. Most of the time I would play for about 30 minutes, and my 10-year-old brain would get frustrated and quit. Wizards and Warriors was no exception. Even though the game had endless continues, it felt so cryptic to me. With a constant supply of enemies flying around you, there's no time to sit and figure it out. You gotta keep moving or else you'll end up being tickled by spiders and weird blue ice things. I just love how you go into these tiny doorways and you enter this giant magical tree. It's like going into a medieval TARDIS. So let's get down to the basics. It took me a while to figure this game out with no instructions. In fact, I didn't realize how to use some of the items until I was at the final level. So here's how to play. You have to go around and look for keys. The keys unlock doors and chests of the same color. Sometimes there are items in the chest, but sometimes there are gems. The items, however, are not as straightforward as they seem. For instance, this dagger of throwing throws out a boomerang-like dagger. But would you guess that it's the only way to open up these blue acorns seen all over the level? The goal of each level is to find a key to the door that the red knight is blocking, as well as pay him off with the number of gems that appear in the speech bubble above his head. And look at this. I can't get up there without a pink potion, but I didn't realize that until I figured out that the pink potions make you jump higher. I didn't figure that out until level 2. The first level only requires you to find the gems, but as the game progresses it gets more and more complicated. This first boss always terrified me as a kid. Could you imagine if this demon was real? A giant anthropomorphic skull that's been reanimated and it shoots bees out of its mouth at you? Ugh, no thanks. So you save the distressed damsel whose name is Lucinda, and then you just leave her there to rot in the cave, I guess. She doesn't come with you, and if you look at the map, there's no way out. Oh well. I love these faces on the wall. That has to be the greatest enemy in any game. Forget Goombas. In Wizards and Warriors, you get to kill emoticons. So here's where it gets a little more complicated. Level 2 is much more open, and it's harder to find the keys and items you need. For starters, the blue key is in this weird place that you can only get to if you jump from the edge of this ledge. Then they have hidden gems, but they're right on the jumps that you have to take, so they almost always mess you up and make you fall. It's annoying. Here's a trick I figured out that can give you an infinite score. Once you get the potion of levitation, just levitate by one of these faces. While you're in the air, your sword automatically kills enemies, and you get points for killing the projectiles that these guys shoot at you. Alright, that's enough of that. So I got a shield of protection. I didn't see any direct effects, so I'm going to assume that it just makes me take less damage. I thought this was pretty funny. I died while I was levitating and it just left my corpse in midair. Thanks. Oh, and a word of advice. Don't try to fight your red doppelganger. You will not win. After I got the red key, I was able to get the boots of Lava Walk. Those will help me out in the next level. But first I have to battle the second stage boss. Before I can fight the boss, I have to kill a slew of bats first. I figured out that the best way to do this is to kite all of the enemies behind me. I got pretty good at the dagger of throwing, so I was able to hit them from behind while I was dodging them. That bat at the top doesn't look like much until you see its wingspan. It can be pretty tricky, but once you get him down into a pattern, he'll be bat soup in no time. So then you untie the new girl and leave her to rot in a dank cave all alone. And this one is named Esmeralda, oh boy. Then it's off to the lava level. This is where the lava boots will come in handy. They don't negate all fire damage, but you can pretty much run around on the floor, which is made out of molten lava, almost completely unharmed. This has to be the most frustrating level in the game. Oh, and here's where I was sabotaged by the hidden gems again. You know, I must have gone back and forth for more than 30 minutes trying to find out where the red key was. You have to get the red key in order to move on to the boss, but the red key's nowhere to be found. Oh look, more hidden gems. Great. It wasn't until I figured out that I needed a blue potion for the extra speed just to get into this one secret area that wasn't a secret area at all. It was housing the red key. Hey, look at that, I got the Battle Axe of Agor, which I'm assuming does more damage, but I never noticed it, so at least it changes the look of the dagger. Then I started to get a bunch of items. I got the Staff of Power, which I had no idea how to use, and I also discovered Horn. This is where I got frustrated and had an epiphany. I swapped out the Horn for the Staff of Power and discovered that I could use it by hitting Select. That sounds easy, right? Hitting the Select button in between jumps to try and shoot out fireballs. I almost wish this weapon was automatic just like the dagger. Now I have to beat the Lava Cave boss, which happens to be an ice cube. That makes a lot of sense, right? I guess it must be a pretty powerful ice cube if it can survive in the depths of a volcano. He was a lot easier than the bats. What does that say? Thou hath rescued Galadriel? 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 I'm not sure how to pronounce this, but has anyone ever heard of someone being named Galadriel? Oh, and she was a classier damsel, so she was worth 20,000 points. Don't let the other damsels know that they're being raided, if they even made it out alive. These purple caves are brand new to me. As a kid, I could never figure out where that red key was, so I had never been past the lava level. From here on out, this was brand new territory for me. Brand new areas to explore, and brand new enemies. I like to call these guys the jerk skulls. Look at them. Look at their face. The jerks. Just when I think I've finally figured out the items, I come across a completely useless one. The Cloak of Darkness. It makes you invisible, but not to enemies. They can still see you, and they can still hit you. So all it does is make it harder for you to see where your character is, as far as I can tell. Now before this point, I had never seen any secret doors. I think there may be a few in the other caves, but I didn't see any this playthrough. In this purple cave, however, there are a ton of them. That's good because you need 200 gems to get past Red Bull over there. I can't figure out if there's any way to kill these evil skull enemies. I wish I had the Boots of Force so I could kick them. They seem to be invincible. The only way that I was able to beat them was by getting a special item that cleared all of the enemies off of the screen. Soon after, I found out that the red potions made me invincible as well. But it's only for a short time, so it's not really fair. I entered the pink door from the purple cave to find my very first wizard. Before I even started playing this game, I was thinking about the title. The game is called Wizards and Warriors. Now, I know that I play a warrior, but I want to be a wizard. It clearly shows a warrior on the cover, and there's an evil face in the background among the clouds. So the wizards must be the bad guys. If you want to mix the old with the new, then I guess we can use the Diablo 3 description. Wizards are renegade spellcasters who use their bodies as vessels for arcane energy, forsaking the more careful path favored by the other magic users. That sounds pretty evil to me. I guess we have to take out all these renegades before they kidnap more damsels. Oh, okay. Griselda. Take a beautiful name like Zelda and make it gross. So now I'm climbing up through the dirt, sliding around on roots and avoiding spiders again. I finally make it to the top and I'm in another forest level. It seems very similar to the first forest level, but they threw in some new monsters. Ooh, there it is! The Feather of Featherfall. This has to be my favorite item in the game. While the Potion of Levitation let me jump higher, this one lets me fall like a dainty butterfly. I finally have control over my terrible platforming mistakes. Hey look, a random goblet appeared. What's that about? I guess it just gives me a higher score. Sweet, the Boots of Force. Now I can get revenge for all the times those stupid invincible jerk skulls attacked me relentlessly. Oh. Oh well. Well, on to the next boss, I guess. Hey, I wonder what happens if I... Nope, nothing. Oh no, a giant spider! Kick him in the face! Ah, he's tickling me to death! Get out of here, go away. The second time around I did much better. The spider couldn't even get close enough to do any damage to me. I would have had a flawless victory except for those weird ghost babies. Ah, Penelope. That's nice. A good, solid, normal name. Penelope. I have to say I was pleased with the detail going into the final levels. The beautiful grass and the stones of the castle really stood out. This was a frustrating level, though. These giant stones move in and out, so you have to constantly watch where you're about to jump. Take a look at how massive this castle is. Now imagine that you have to find a key somewhere in this huge area. The key then leads to a door near the top of the castle, but since this was my first time playing through this level, I was completely on my own. So I got the key, which let me go inside the castle, and what do you know? Jerk skulls. I really hate these abominations, but I was way too far in the game to quit. I made my way through the gauntlet of projectiles into the room with the red key. Now all I had to do was get down to the bottom of the castle to pay off my thieving red twin. Hold on, I have to do this. Whee! 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 There we are. Whee! Okay, I'm done. So I got the red key for the red door, which leads me to the red castle, but I lost the red key, so I need to get a new red key so I can go through the red door to the blue castle for the blue key so I can go back to the red castle to go through the blue door. Phew. Oh, look at that little guy. He's too small to kick. Wait a second. He's a tough little zombie. It actually took me several tries to beat this guy. He was the hardest boss I had faced, and he had multiple forms. As an RPG player, this led me to believe that he could have been the final boss, but I was wrong. It took some effort, but I finally beat him. Candida? Really? Okay, now you guys are just making stuff up. The infamous Green Castle. Yeah, these colorized levels are starting to get to me. This level is like an endurance round. You better get every single one of those crystals on the way down. The goal for this level is an even 100, but you'll only find about 70 laying around. The rest you'll have to get from fighting enemies. It's monotonous, but that last guard is always the hardest to bribe. Well, there he is. The Pink Ranger. This room is set up to be a massive battle, but the wizard just teleports around randomly. It's so cheap. He only shows up for half a second before he's gone. So I decided to just stand in the corner and wait for him to come to me. It was boring and safe, but it was much better than chasing him around and getting demolished. So he's dead. I beat him. That's all there is to it. Wait. Thou hath rescued thy princess? Thy search hath ended? Oh, no wonder I left those other girls to rot in those dark caves. The princess was in another castle. Great. So that's Wizards and Warriors for you. It was a great title that I remember fondly, and with good reason. It was actually part of a trilogy, and believe it or not, it only gets weirder.